Rob Fulmer, you take so much time to compile all these videos and edit down all the sounds. It's amazing.
Thank you.
The giving that you do to make this happen is crazy. Okay, I mean, it's true though.
It's if you're going to do video, you have to do those things.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to do video. I don't know.
You did try doing that whole automatic changing.
Mm-hmm.
Does it work?
That works. It's still part of it's a core part of what we do. But sometimes we have an occasion where we can't have separate audio tracks. So Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. There's no way for the software to know to change cameras, so
Yeah.
it's like if we accidentally, it happens more on our remotes or when we use Zoom. You can't really separate a separate channel, or there's too much bleed over between the mics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good investment on that piece of software to have that done. So
Does it work on Chromebooks? Not on mine.
the underlying piece of software that runs the software doesn't run on Chromebook. No,
I figured.
There's probably some better native tools in it. As you have a platform and then people write plugins for it, eventually some of those things become features.
Can Canva do this?
No,
Not the auto switching? Does it do video?
You can edit video to some degree in Canva. Canva is actually pretty useful. I like it a lot, but it does prevent you from learning the more advanced ways to do things. Same with the remove the background tricks and stuff like that. I
think maybe the first day I worked for the guild, you introduced me to remove the background. You're like, this might be the most important thing I teach you in the next however many years.
Yeah, no,
I used it like 4 times yesterday, of course.
Who would think that cleaning up a bunch of graphics for businesses that use branding to promote their products, who would think that we would get the ass end of all the worst graphics?
Well, sometimes I just want to steal other people's stuff and use it for myself, and that works too.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob.
Andrew Bauman.
How you doing, friend?
I'm doing all right.
Cool.
Today is a busy day. We have to record a pod, and then we are going off to the Governor's Conference on Travel, or GCOT, as we call it. We have been once again invited to serve some beers, and in exchange, we get to participate in the Governor's Conference on Travel. It is we're going to get
an expensive ticket to get in if you have to pay cash.
Yeah. So we're very fortunate that we have that relationship,
and that our breweries are willing to share with us.
Yeah, and it's actually through the efforts of the Wine Growers Association, who have been partners with the travel industry for quite a while, simply because of their proximity in northern Arizona to the Grand Canyon, and the fact that they're regarded as destinations. We could make the argument that breweries are destinations too, but I think we lose on one-to-one comparisons, though. We don't really have a farm brewery or some true destination that's just not simply a brewery. Now, they have them in other states. When I was in upstate New York, they had breweries and wineries combined, and they had vistas and fields, agricultural things going on, and lakes.
Many states
boating.
have farm brewery licenses that give them additional rights for using local produce and local ingredients. Ours isn't. We don't really have that so much because growing wheat here, or I don't know. I guess it's not hard to grow barley here, and
it was the fact that we didn't have a malt stir
at the time when,
and we do now, but it's still in its early phases. I mean, it's not for them. I mean, they're doing great, and not for the breweries that use those products. In fact, we had somebody on our private Facebook forum extolling the virtues of Sinagua malt and encouraging other breweries to do it. And I guess which we knew. I mean, there are some breweries that don't mill their own grain; they receive it pre-milled, and that's not a service at this point that malt company offers Sinagua. So
that would be really rough for a small maltster for a couple reasons. Because brewers are very specific on how they want their malt milled.
Right.
And if you don't do it exactly the way they want, they could just be like, nope, I'm rejecting all of it.
Right.
And they can't afford that kind of...
Right. And once you do that, I imagine that the shelf life goes down a little bit on it.
yeah, much.
And they are used to using super sacks. I don't think they individually bag.
50 pounders.
No, I don't think they do.
Okay.
I don't know. I think they just use super sacks, which are,
2,000 pounds. Wait. Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's a problem that, I mean, I don't even think, I wouldn't even wish having the malt sent to another brewery for them to mill, because then you have you have more problems.
Oh, just complications on top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like borrowing a cup of sugar. That's for sure.
So the Arizona Governors Conference on Tourism starts today.
Yeah, 2:30. So.
And today we'll have a speech from the director? Director of the Arizona Office of Tourism.
Yes. And then we'll get some. What I find important is the numbers that tell about what are we seeing more visitors? Where are they coming from? What's their impact? Are their average stays
How
getting
long are
longer?
they staying? Where are they going? All the things. Yeah.
Right, and those things
cool.
actually do translate to our businesses, and so hopefully we can unravel the mystery of why did we have the busiest Tuesday we ever had in our entire operation.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about a thing that happened on Monday, which was the chili cook-off at Hungry Monk.
Okay.
They were packed.
Yeah.
Packed full.
Yeah.
Overflowing on a
Good.
Monday
I'd like to
night.
see Mondays happen.
It was great.
Yeah.
There were some great chilies. There were some amazing people.
Yeah.
All these things happened on Monday.
We could tell a tale of two Mondays.
And they were busy. A tale of two Mondays.
Yeah,
yes.
because in our recent past, we met with Justin Heminger, who was on our show via phone. He did his makeup game in Phoenix. It was Diamondbacks versus the Rockies.
Very exciting game.
Yeah, it came down to the late innings.
It was a rubber match, back and forth.
A couple of pass balls, and we were back in it, And but that was on a Monday, and let me tell you, if you buy the cheapest ticket on that day, because it's hot and it's Monday, you pretty much have the run of all of the places.
Yes,
in
anywhere
the
you want to go.
More or less. I mean, we went to the... Are we getting ahead of ourselves? No, let's just go with it.
Nah, it's okay.
We went to the what is it? Cold beer and cheeseburgers
inside the stadium. That's outside the stadium, but inside it.
Right. So you have to show your tickets coming and going, and you can't bring stuff between. But yeah, we before we even went there, we met him at we picked him up and we went to Oso's. A Little O's, excuse me, and it's closed now.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
We were there and we didn't even know it, and it was the last week they were open.
I'm not even sure they knew it.
Yeah.
It seemed very sudden. So
that was a heartbreaker.
So it's a employee owner of that location affiliated with the Oso, and I don't know the whole story, but something very abruptly happened in that person's life, and they decided that it was time for them to
move out of state.
Yeah. So. And Summer, who is the owner, has been with them for, I don't know, at least a decade, I would think.
Right.
Her name came up quite a long time ago when I was in the job, and she was doing, I think, more marketing and social media stuff, and did some of the media programs that we did. It was on television, so. So yeah, we went there. We went to next door. We went to
Rosemont Stairs.
Rosemont Stairs. You had a hoppy saison.
It was so good.
Yeah. But yeah, we went to the ball game, and having the realization, I'm like, I haven't been to a regular season game in a long time. I've been to more spring training games than regular season games.
Right.
And I was trying to understand why that was. And part of it is they weren't very good for a while. And then they got
The
good.
Diamondbacks weren't very good. Okay, well, I mean, that's part of it, because as the team is better, there are more people in the stands. There's more people in the stands. It's more energy and excitement.
Yeah.
It's that self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. But we went and they did well. But I was not familiar with where to get beer. And we walked around the right field or line, base side. And there's not a lot of offerings. And there was a lot of macro beer. Obviously, ABI is introduced a brand, and
we could even say exclusively macro, except for the Hop Valley, who the day after we were there got sold.
Yeah.
So now they're craft again. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's that movie with Jim Carrey where it's all about him?
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. It's like you could just see the facades falling away. Oh, Hop Valley. Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, and then like Blue Moon was in center field, not even open. This wasn't like I was craving a Blue Moon, but that's a big brand.
Well, I think that was just a function of Monday.
I suppose. I don't know. This reminds me
It was just a Blue Moon branded hot dog stand.
Yeah, but I mean, they sold Blue Moons. They're going to sell less Blue Moons on Monday.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And it's a Blue Moon right now.
Speaking of self-fulfilling prophecies.
Right.
But we went to Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers, and they had a much better variety.
Oh, tons of crafts. So nice.
Yeah, and we ended up getting some canned stuff. I was texting Ken Wilson from Lumberyard. I said, "Where's your stuff?" He's Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers. I texted Four Peaks. I'm like, "Hey, I'm not even trying to be snarky here, but what's going on?
Where's your stuff?"
And that's the brand I think that ABI supplanted. It's their Jalisco. Is that what it is?
Jalisco Estrella?
Yeah.
But that's a Miller Coors brand, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. It makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. So they've, just like anything, they've decided that high-end craft beer, high-end beer is on the decline a little bit. So
let's switch to Mexican lagers.
Yeah. Right? Because, groupthink. Oh, yeah.
I know. Well,
they're taking off like crazy. What's a Mexican
America
lager? No idea. Just
has a very high respect for Mexican people and products, obviously.
Moving on.
Okay.
But we ran into somebody who goes to quite a few games. Her name was Cedar, and she's like, "Oh, I always go to this place to get my College Street Big Blue Van."
Blue Van.
Then we ended up being in left field, and there was a lot more.
There was a lot more in that corner.
Yeah.
And then
what was the place? We went to the Jalisco.
Then we went to the Jalisco Estrella bar upstairs to finish the game out.
Which had more beer than you would think.
Yeah, they had many craft options.
Yeah, which is the same. It's the same place that everybody knows.
And it used to be called the Four Peaks bar.
Right. So yeah,
Jalisco Estrella Cantina.
Yeah, so we were able to get Lumberyard IPA, Flag IPA. We were able to get
you had
Spellbinder.
You and Justin had Spellbinder in 16s, and I had the 12-ounce Lumberyard because I drink so slow.
Right, and then there was something else. They had some Santan there, but you have to kind of look and see what's in the can cooler. Oh, damn it. Sorry, I'm scrolling through my photos.
They're honestly not trying at all.
No.
And if you went by the established rule of in the market, craft beer sells 15%, therefore 15% of your outlet display should be craft. They failed that mark very much.
Yeah, and it's something that the current Biden administration was looking at and was asking for information from the Brewers Association. So people got asked their opinions on it, and I don't know where that's going yet. Obviously, there's a whole nother election with a whole nother person going to be involved, but we were told that there's no reason to think that would change because that's not something if it's with the current party, then fine. If it's the opposite party, they're not going to spend any time on it. So that agency will continue to go about what it's working on. I guess the biggest thing was I was like, all right, well, we need one more beer because we need to finish the game out. We need to watch into the game. And I'm like, I'll just get a couple. I'll get a couple banquet beers, and they were like the 25-ounce, $20 a can. I think it was a nice $60 round. Thank you.
Well, there were Coors Lights.
Yeah. Oh, so they should be even more? No.
So not banquet.
Oh, yeah.
So you ordered banquet and she brought Coors Lights because I don't think they had banquet.
Yeah, probably true. And
It's
I
all
probably
right.
didn't care.
It's all right. We didn't care. Oh, boy. That was fun.
Yeah, no. So I know that people listening probably go to games more than us, and I guess I didn't understand how the struggle was, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, if you were really committed to sitting in your seat to watch this game,
You'd have no option.
no, you'd really be screwed.
Yeah.
Game is much faster now with the pitch clock. Let
Sure.
me tell you. So
I mean, but it really needed to be. I think they're in a good place right now.
yeah. The next day, this is after I've been in Madison for a week, so I'm continuing this.
Yes.
I went to Walter Station to meet prior to John Anderson concert. John Anderson from Yes. But anyway, we had a good time there.
Cool.
There's not a lot to talk about. It was at the Celebrity Theater, the usual suspects, Four Peaks, Tower Station, the Shop, Dos Equis. I was beered out at that point. I just wanted to enjoy the show. So I don't have anything on the beer report on that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I went to Walter Station on Saturday.
Yeah.
Prior to the Best Fest presented by Phoenix Magazine.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I also had to pick up beer for Governor's Conference on Tourism.
Yes.
So I picked up the beer. My daughter met us there. Since she's so smart, she Ubered. Mm-hmm. She Ubered over and said, I am going to have a good time this afternoon. And we had a couple beers. It was great. They were setting up some live music and had some really nice, they were staffed up and ready to go for a great evening. So that was cool to see. And then we went to the Best Fest. There were 7 or 8 breweries and other beverage providers. There was food to be had. There were vendors selling merchandise and all kinds of things. And it was tons of fun.
What about the beer?
Oh, what about the beer?
The beer's available there.
Yeah.
Were there beers available at Best Fest?
It's a sampling event.
Yeah.
So we had Simple Machine, Wren House, Oso, Oro. I'm drawing a blank now.
It's all right.
But more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, at least those and more for sure.
And this is the folks that are running our Craft Beer Awards Festival.
Yeah.
Phoenix Magazine.
If you're on camera, you can see all of the nice beers that were.
Oh, yeah. These are for the Governor's Conference. So we've got Hazing, Arizona from Walter Station. Sorry, I'm not doing any facings.
Yeah, I am.
Crispy. The Shop.
We've got Pop Cycle Blonde from Oso. Lemon Raspberry Blonde Lager.
Is that what
How about that?
All right.
Yeah. We've got You're Just Like Your Dad, Coconut Lime Blonde from Simple Machine. Barrio Blonde, not faced. Okay, that's better.
Hazy Angel.
By Lumberyard Brewing Company. So, for this, I just realized in the last 2 years we've also donated beer, but we really haven't. We're using catering and banquet bartenders. They're not super.
Well, every once in a while you get one who knows.
And they do a fine job.
Yeah.
But they're not there to sell or like go into the intricate details. So what I did is I made a little menu that we can put out this year. It's got a picture of each can and it's got a description, the ABV, where it's from, i.e. the city, because, you know, this is an all over Arizona kind of thing and we have beers from all over Arizona.
Right.
And it's got the Guild's logo on it to give us a little bit of props.
Right.
In case people want to recognize it when they're out and about and be like, oh, I know them. It's my favorite.
Right.
Okay, that's it. I'm done.
So actually, I went up to Flagstaff to get the Hazy Angel. So the you might wonder, why did we choose certain beers, and it was a function of some of them being from our board members, some of them representing travel locations like Hazy Angel. I think that's natural. We had some beer flavored beers. We wanted to get some regions. We got Tucson, Flagstaff. We obviously have.
We have easy
Metro
drinking
Phoenix.
beers, we have fruited beers, and we have some hazy IPAs, and I think that covers what we need.
Yeah, if you had Arizona in the name, it was a good chance that we were going to put it in there too. But it was also we caught some people in a weird cycle of not having a lot of a beer available.
No, the other issue was we didn't get the call that we were going to be in until very short period of time. So there wasn't a collection process. We just had to. I happened to be in a meeting, said anyone want to donate? They said yes. Cool.
Yeah.
I did not need another thing to do.
Right. So I went to Flagstaff to pick those up, and then I was going to go to the North Rim with my wife Brenda, who the last 3 years I think we've been there on her birthday. But I just took a little bit of B-roll because I'm running the campaign video for Ken Wilson.
Oh yeah, that's
He
true.
is running for the Brewers Association board of directors. He's currently on the marketing committee for the last 5 years. He's been our president. He's been on our board. He's in his fifth of six terms now. So I'll probably run that video in here. Why not? In this, you'll hear it and you'll see it.
And if you're a Brewers Association member, vote for him.
Yeah.
'Cause it
You
would
have
be
to be
great.
a production brewery. And one of the nice things about Ken's brewery, Lumberyard, is they are a production brewery, but they also have a brew pub. So I think that gives you more range, and you're not kind of put in a box. And his advantage, I feel, is that there are a lot of people who run the marketing committee and the Brewers Association that have much more barrels than most.
Right.
And so they're at the, flirting with 10,000 barrel thing. And I think that's more representative of production breweries right now that aren't over the hump. Because
The
once
Brewers Association does tend to skew towards those massive craft brewers,
right.
rather than the smaller ones, unless you get to the brew pub, which they do a lot of work as far as producing training materials and other best practices sort of things for brew pubs, and which would translate into restaurants, but also production breweries.
But let's be clear. It's not the Brewers Association that skews. It's the voters of the Brewers Association vote, and it skews towards larger breweries because people don't research the candidates.
Sure.
They go by the names. Oh,
Right.
Rob Todd, he's such an innovator. He makes great
Yeah.
beer.
Tommy Arthur.
Of course, he's going to be really good at these other things. And, in a lot of cases, that
It's
bears
true.
to be true.
For sure. And they have resources, they have knowledge. It's true.
Right. Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, if you're a board member and you've got a company behind you, you're not going to walk into a meeting unprepared. You're going to be like, hey, I need some help
Right.
with these numbers. Can we send these to our accounting and make sure when I say this is really what it means? You're not going to just go in there and wing it. I mean, not that small breweries don't, but you just don't have the resources to cover that. Not sometimes.
I mean, when you're on a national organizations board, you have to be able to take time. So even if your travel is paid for by the BA, which it may or may not be, I don't know, you have to be able to take off several weeks of the year to go to those board meetings. And a lot of people who are running small breweries just don't have the ability to do that.
When we support each other, we continue to have success. We're all interconnected one way or another. Our suppliers are interconnected, our retailers, our wholesalers. So I think it's important to maintain those relationships. And that's part of being on the Arizona Craft Brewery Guild. That's part of being on the Market Development Committee for the Brewer Association. And that's why I would love to be part of the Brewer Association board. My name's Ken Wilson. I'm with Lumberyard Brewing Company in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm running to be a member of the Brewer Association Board of Directors for packaging breweries. So I'd like to give other breweries our size and smaller a voice. We were at 1,000 barrels in a brew pub, and now we're at 6,000 barrels. We hope to close in at about 7,000 barrels by the end of the year. I think it's important that breweries our size have a say, and that's why I'm running, is for someone our size and someone like us to represent the bigger bulk of our membership. Been in this industry for 29 years. We've got over 16 awards between World Beer Cup and Great American Beer Festival, and I'm super proud of what we do.
Anyway, we went to the
North Rim.
We went to the North Rim. Yeah. As you would expect. Well, I don't know what people expect. Have you been to the North Rim?
I have not.
You should go.
I should.
Next mid August, we're
August.
going. You got to get your reservations in early. If you want there are cabins that are close to the rim. There are some with views, not very many. There are hotel-like rooms that are further away from the lodge. There are more primitive cabins, on the other side, closer to the lodge. So there's a wide variety of accommodations, but they're all like, you have to put it, like, if we wanted the same date, we should probably put our reservation in right now. It's much more remote. It is like 3.5 hours from Flagstaff, something like that. There's only one road in, one road out. The closest town to the lodge is 45 minutes away, 50 minutes away, Jacob Lake. There's only like 3 opportunities to get groceries, and they're not great. So you got to go prepared. Like they have a coffee maker, but you can't always rely on it. So we brought our own percolator coffee pot, which saves you hours because you don't have to go to the little coffee shop and wait in line for coffee.
Is it a busy place?
It's a busy place. It's
Yeah,
the
I would
bar.
think.
It's the Rough Rider Saloon. It's the bar, the coffee breakfast place, all wrapped in one. And in talking to the people who run the restaurant and the bar, there's nothing that does not move there. So,
And they have gobs of local craft, yeah?
They looking at the handles, they had 3 Grand Canyon beers. They had their Amber, their Pilsner, and Amber and the Prickly Pear. I want to say wheat. I don't know if it was wheat or IPA. Sorry, that was a different day. I'm looking at my photos. They had Tower Station and they had Hazy Angel on draft. They have a grocery store there. A lot of out of stocks. So I would say if you're going, you should bring beer and use the grocery store to sort of round it off. Oh, they had a cider, 2 Towns, which is not local. But there was a lot of out of stocks. Tower Station was out. They had another variation Tower Station.
Orange Grove.
Hazy Angel was out. They had some weird stuff in there. They had Smirnoff Ice in bottles.
Not only Smirnoff Ice, red, white, and blue. So
Yeah.
it's blue, bright blue colored.
Yeah. So that must be a holdover from the holidays.
Red, white, and berry. Sorry.
Yeah. They had Bud Light on the warm shelf, which is funny to me.
All right.
They had some Phoenix Beer Co. stuff. I didn't see there much historic, but I guess I see it here in the refrigerator now.
That blue and gold
This Lonely Ranch water here.
from Huss Brewing Company.
Yeah. But this was on Saturday. So, I mean, look, you got in the Reaching, you got a whole shelf and there's 1 can on it. But, I mean, again, if you supplant your own things, you should be fine. we
So
brought
what
some
you're
of these.
saying is that they were out of stock of local craft and had all the other stuff there?
Well,
it
that's-
looked
that's-
like it.
That's what's popular, right?
Yeah.
I
People want local beer.
was lucky to be at Lumberyard when I was picking up Hazy Angel to bring back down. I was able to pick up their first run of Oktoberfest.
Cool.
And so I had an October Freshie
Oh,
right
nice.
off the line.
That's great.
And those guys treated me right. I brought some, I gave them some of my California beers because I was just out there in exchange. But let me tell you, that whatever they did to it this year, it's super drinkable, not too malty. And if you stand there long enough, you're going to get 3 cans because of the QC problem there. No, there's no QC problem. They had some dented cans, so I was able to take a few of those too. Yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah.
It is Oktoberfest season. Like those things are coming out of the walls now.
Yeah. People get angry about pumpkin beer showing up early, but I think less now with Oktoberfest. I think people have come to the realization that if Oktoberfests are acceptable earlier, then you're also going to get Helles and some other things that are generally more year-round. But I think if we want this lager thing to sort of take off, which I do, then we have to be forgiving that people are going to make these beers, one, to satisfy their distributor, two, apparently people are buying them this early, so just because you don't want them doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't. And three, if they want to have a shot at winning a medal, they're being collected as we speak right now across the country. So, if you can roll out batch 1 right about now, that's great. But some people might be on batch 3, right? Or 2, or some iteration to tweak it a little bit. Because you don't get good at it if you only do it once a year. You don't read your notes from last year and go, oh, okay, because all of your grains have changed and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So don't get angry at the breweries, please, about that. I don't know.
So you're going to see it on Facebook. Don't worry about it.
It's a pet peeve of mine.
When people complain that beer's out too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasonal drift, whatever. It's like, there are things to be angry about. Like, seeing a Christmas tree right now, yeah, that's kind of BS. That has nothing to do with anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you are a crafter and you go to a craft store, it's all holiday Christmas stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
how often do you go to craft stores, Rob?
I don't.
Okay, I do.
No, to get frames and stuff. But I can kind of see that. It's not in your face. It's not like you go to Target and you see it, right?
Not yet.
Or a grocery store.
Well, they're all in back to school season still.
Yeah.
So they've got.
But if you're a crafter, you're gonna probably want to get a head start on that.
Absolutely, you got a lot of crafting to do.
I got to do 55 doilies.
Do you know how many bracelets I have to make for Christmas?
Jeez,
none is the answer.
Okay. So, the North Rim is way quieter, way more spectacular, less vistas, less different angles. Yeah, fewer. But you can get in your car. You can go out to a point. I think it's I don't know, Imperial, something like that. And you can see those Vermilion Cliffs that you drive by as you're going from Lee's Ferry, and you could see those from the North Rim at that point because
those are so beautiful.
It's because it's like 8,800 feet. It's 1,000 feet higher than the South Rim.
Right.
You can see the landing lights from Flagstaff, their airport.
Those some bright lights.
Well, that's a long ways.
Yeah.
And this time of year, you're going to get rains going through, knocks the crap out of the air. So you either get these really crystal clear colors or you get fog, and it's just very spectacular. So
you have some amazing rain videos of giant storms moving across the canyon. If you are just listening, you're missing out. You should go look on YouTube because they are super cool.
Yeah. And so, just kick back, have a beer. What's the beer situation there? They do have a bar. You can bring things to the patio. You can bring your own beers to the patio. Apparently, this has been the thing that we've been doing the last 3 years, and I know it happens at the South Rim. I can't tell you the legal basis for any of this, and I don't want to ruin it. So just, as long as you're not being obnoxious.
I want to drink a Pliny at the canyon.
Yeah, that happened. But we just enjoyed some Oktoberfest, and it was, in the 70s and all that stuff. So it was
gorgeous.
Good. We also had a wonderful meal. It's like, it's Xanterra, and you're like, all right, well, they do cater to tourists, and it's not, you're paying steakhouse prices, right? But it is pretty well done there. I can't speak for the South Rim. I think that gets a little more crushed, but these guys do a really good job. And we talked to some of the people there because they're only seasonal. It's from May to October.
Right.
And so they're a tight knit crew. You're gonna get a trout, salmon. You're gonna get steak. You're gonna get pork. Tom and I, we split. He had the trout, and I had the pork, and we had shared. And so I started. Hey, we call this pig and jig, meaning fishing jig.
Yeah.
And then we came up with porcine and stream,
Oh, also
but
nice.
the winner was trout and snout. So like surf and turf, trout and snout.
It
Yeah.
was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Arizona trout, the Arizona State fish?
that
what you
no, I
ate?
don't. I think that's endangered.
Oh, damn.
The spotted trout.
Well, I hope not then.
I don't know. No, they're Mountain West caught, raised, all that stuff. I have the menu. I could look at it, but anyway, that you're sitting in a dining room and there's windows, so like that lodge is pretty cool. But that's where you're going to be doing a lot of your stuff. So you're kind of limited. We did hike down a couple miles on the Kaibab Trail. We got to what's called Havasupai Tunnel, which is a tunnel. That was enough for me. It's the steeper canyon side. South is less steep, but it is much more covered in trees because you're starting at a higher elevation. So I recommend.
Is it a little dicey as far as hikes go?
There are parts that are a little bit.
Are you going to share the mules?
Yeah, I'll put the mules.
Yeah.
You can do a mule ride if you're under 220 pounds. You can do that, and if you have money and time, yeah.
Sure. And you reserve way in advance.
Yeah. I think they had plenty of capacity on that, and I mean there's a reason why the guy's hanging out the desk there, waiting for people to sign up.
Yeah.
But, I would say just don't go during my special weekend.
Don't mess it up for Rob.
I did run into Craig Backus and his wife, whose name escapes me now.
From Smelter Town
Yeah,
Brewing.
the owners of Smelter Town. Yeah.
Nice.
They were sharing an anniversary. So yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, no, it was cool. They were super excited to say hello, and I was like, oh. And it would be cool to get some beer people up there on the weekend. I don't know,
Well, if you're looking for that kind of thing, there is Labor Days with Grand Canyon Brewing that's happening next week. I don't know when.
Yeah,
it's next week.
yeah. I guess that's more of a South Rim thing.
South Rim thing,
because
for sure.
they're not very much closer to.
They're farther. You
Yeah.
have to go all the way around.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't get a chance to go to Colorado City, so I know I keep saying I'm going to have to devote a trip to that soon.
I mean, you could fly into St. George.
I know that's the plan. Fly into St. George, rent a car, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I proposed it to the group, and it was on the radar. And then
Other things
after
happened.
lunch, it was like, no. And you do want to get to check in early because you cannot reserve an individual cabin. So the earlier you get there, you might have more choices.
Right.
So-
If you have a favorite cabin, you want to get there early.
Yeah.
Got it.
and there's really only three.
don't
that
start
are
from Phoenix.
Super. That have a view of the canyon right out your porch. There's only like 3 or 4.
Oh, I want one of those.
Yeah, I know. Well, bring chairs, bring an umbrella, bring a clampable umbrella, because if you're sitting on that patio facing south, you're going to get sun on either side, and the shady ones get taken first, and no one sits on the hot ones. But if you bring your umbrella, and I bought some at Big Five for like $14. They're
Amazing.
half price. Yeah. And
You couldn't find a local vendor?
Big Five was someone knit me one or something.
Yeah, someone could knit you an umbrella.
We are not
All
receiving
right,
any money
all
from
right.
Big Five.
All right.
What else happened? That's it. Is that it? What day of the week are we?
Yeah, I know.
I think that's all I did. I mean, I came back, right?
Well, there is one thing that happened is that the Arizona Craft Beer Awards entry window has closed.
Oh, okay.
So we have over 200 beers for that competition.
So the
Pretty
competition
exciting.
is growing again.
Yeah, I mean, and since we talked yesterday, I did have a couple of latecomers
Uh-huh.
that I had reached out to and said, hey,
You normally do this.
And another one, Belfry entered.
Oh, nice.
Which had not before and got in, a little late, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start drilling down in some of those beers and making sure they're in the right categories. And although we did have established categories for people to put their beers or groups. So the category is the GABF number,
Right.
and the group is what we are putting them into.
We give awards based on those groups.
Right.
However, if we had a category and a subcategory that had enough entries, we would
Split
drill
it.
We would drill
Sure.
it down to that.
Yeah. Many people had questions, what group should I put it in? And I said, put it in specialty. If you have a question, put it in specialty. I'll see where we roll out on the number of categories. Indeed, there were 3 that asked about German Pilsner. What category should I put it in? So if I have 3
Yeah.
that want to do a German Pilsner, just that reached out to me asking for a grouping,
Yeah.
we may need to have just a category of German Pilsner.
Right.
And then I would take them out of that specialty group and put them in their own little group. So these are some of the things that can happen.
Right. Right. It's like saying, hey, we're going to have this big race. Well, like that guy's going to win for sure. Like, no,
Right.
we're going to have like,
Seniors,
yes,
and the children.
right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's not just one race.
That's right. So that is currently taking a ton of time up. If you're a judge, expect to get an email from me today or tomorrow with more information on our stuff, and it never stops. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a couple of little notes. You mentioned Belfry, and someone asked about them. Like, I never heard of this brewery, Belfry. I'm like, they were at Real Wild and Woody. Oh yeah, and this
Right.
is somebody in our industry. So, I'm convinced that if you're a brewery and you think, oh, no one's gonna, everybody knows who you are already. It's not true. And even when you're there, sometimes I just like that's the only venue that would provide information about that brewery in Flagstaff, and that's sort of close, right? So
Definitely counts as Northern Arizona. On the
festivals have that value if you're paying attention. And, I think down the road here, we're going to have an examination of festivals in general and what they mean. And it'd be a good show. I think we'll get some people in here because I think we've lost focus. We've lost track of what that is. When I say we, not you and I, we know very intimately about how important it is and what it means, but
so people, so here's just a theoretical, thought problem to consider. Remember when breweries used to go out and like do a takeover at a craft beer bar, and you would bring 4 of your beers, and then you would give out swag and meet people and say
Right.
hi, and it's super labor intensive.
yeah,
And you never know what your results are, and sometimes it can feel like you're just spinning your wheels. Well, those are kind of the things that got craft beer kicked off.
yeah,
Remember when you used to be like, I'm going to these festivals, and then everyone said, oh my God, we're just exhausted of doing festivals, and we don't know if the payoff's there, and we don't know. And then so people started cutting back on doing festivals. And I mean, I get it. It like fatigue is real. I've seen some breweries that are turning that switch back on, going back to doing more tap takeovers at local brewery or at a local craft bar, and they're going to be there. They're going to do one every night of the week. It's that thought of maybe we get back to the basics of what built the scene.
yeah,
I say this knowing that I'm not the one that has to do it. And I'm not the one that has to pay for people to do it. And I'm not the one that has to go out and be at that bar for 2 or 3 hours and
yeah,
then go back to work the next morning and work another 8-hour day. Like, I get it. But it is a thought currently going around is, do we need to get back to those original things that made craft beer exciting? We know now we don't have to say, hey, craft beer is this thing. And people are like, what? Craft beer? Never heard of it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's heard of it. They
Right.
know what it is. They may not have experienced it, They may have decided I tried it once and I didn't like it, and then said I'm just going to get a Bud Light from now on. But we have a way to reach those people again, and still.
Right.
Okay, I'm off my soapbox again.
No. I mean, and I'll bring it back to the baseball game. If you don't have a story and you don't have people to do these things, and you don't have a flavor profile that is different than most, then what you do is you spend a lot of money at the ballpark and load it up with a product and branding and just give people no choice. That's the strategy, and it works.
Yes,
it works unfortunately as well. So if you're, I'm not saying there's a direct cause and effect here, but it's kind of dotted line. Like if we don't support things that have a variety of products and experiences, then why would we expect that to translate to bigger business, right?
Right.
Like, so I don't know. Like I guarantee you, if it were doable with the baseball stadium, if we had like 3 booths there just giving away 2-ounce samples, they would be slammed. I mean, because it is free and we talk about small samples, people would eat it up.
And then just have a little cooler next to it where they can buy the beers.
Does it translate to more sales? I mean, I don't know. Not immediately. Like there's a lot of inputs that cost a lot just for being there. For some dumb reason, you have to spend a lot of money to actually physically be at a ballpark. We can get into that later. You have to sign sponsor agreements and all this other bullshit. But I don't know. I hope we're getting back to basics soon, because there's not going to be a lot of basic ingredients left. But we'll see. We're going to have to get to the point where if you're in this business, then you need to be out there, you need to be present. And I don't think there's any riding this out anymore. I think you got to be committed.
Yeah. There are different business models. I mean, if people are just selling beer over their bar and they don't want to, and they don't feel the need to go out and do samplings to get people to come to your tap room, I totally get that, right?
Yeah.
There might be other community events that can help drive people to that tap room. But if you are packaging and in distribution, particularly if you're going to be in grocery store sets, seems like, I don't know. And again, I'm not the one selling the beer, so I'm not the one that knows how it works. But from my perspective, getting your name and your face and your story out to those consumers gives them a reason to buy your beer.
Yeah. Well, I think we've said enough for this show. I'm going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm going to package it up, get it all ready
I'm
to go.
need to take a walk and calm down a little bit.
You excited about...
He's really excited about the future of beers. We have to get back to the basics and do what set it up, I guess.
Right on. All right. Well,
was that it?
I think that's it. We want to look ahead. We got this conference. We'll have some things. We'll have some numbers next week for sure.
Yeah.
I know the.
We got Wickenburg Oktoberfest coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's September 28th.
Oh yeah. Time to get down and dust off the lederhosen.
That's right. We have the Arizona Craft Beer Awards judging coming up on.
That's in September.
September 7th. We have the awards on October 6th. There's this idea of Arizona AZ BrewCon that's still floating around in people's heads. We'll see how that goes. It might just be a chance to get together and have some beers and maybe talk about doing tap takeovers. I don't know. I'd give a seminar. So we got stuff coming up, no doubt.
All right.
Oh, Arizona or the League of Cities and Towns.
Oh, yeah.
Their conference is next week, and we'll be pouring beer on that at Thursday night with our partners at the town of Wickenburg.
Right on. I might actually make this one this year. Like I always have a conflict on that one.
Oh, that's amazing. Then I can do trivia on Thursday. Maybe not
maybe
like
not.
that.
Maybe not.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for listening or viewing on the YouTubes.
Yeah, watch the YouTube.
If you want to get the great stuff, you got to go to the YouTubes. But if you want to get the mediocre stuff, you can listen to me.
Hey, Andrew, this is not a beer podcast.
It is a podcast about beer.
That's correct.
All right.
right. And sometimes you just have to drink coffee because it's early.
And you have a conference to go to.
Cheers.